System and structural functional approaches, isn't it? Systems and structural and functional approach, where you can see in your book, if you have the book, you can see that in the for 50 page number, unit 6. Okay, and in this chapter we understand about the approaches, how it is helps to understand the political science. All of that we understand that. Okay, generally system, what is it? System approach, one should need to understand this. Is this my voice is audible to everyone now? Hello, you able to listen my voice, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine then. So what is the meaning of your system approach? Let me tell you first, then after we'll go, I will discuss regarding then features and characteristics of the system approach. No, the system approach is an approach which makes us to understand how actually there's an, yes, okay ma'am. 1 second. Yes. Yes, it is system approach. Is it my voice is audible to everyone? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So in a system approach, we shall understand how actually the system theory applied to the study of specific situations in the political science. You know, it's termed the system approach as actually it is in a different terminologies, where if you could see and different definitions about a system approach in the political science. Out of them, the first and the thinker in the political science blatantly defined the system as a set of elements studying an interaction. Okay, so what you have to understand here is that system approach, which makes you to understand the certain provision in the political theory or political science, to have an extensive understanding about it. What actually blatantly and defines about a system approach is that in its definition, a set of elements studying an interaction. For example, see what he is telling, a set of and the thing which you can discuss with the certain interactions in the society. For example, you know, you can understand about a chief minister, okay, and you can understand about a council of ministers in the state, isn't it? So understanding is something, elements which is relevant to the state and in an interactive manner. For example, if I ask you the questions about in chief minister's roles and responsibilities, you will and interact and as well as that, and you will tell and who is the chief minister, what is his works and what he is doing and all of that. You can understand. So as blatantly and in this while he's understanding, while he's giving a definitions about in system approach, he says that in a very shorter manner, a set of elements standing in interactions, which is called it as a system approach. what you understand from this definition is that you will understand some and the things in the political science by using an interactive manner, such as about in legislative system or executive system, about in judiciary systems in the state. What do we understand in all of them? That it shall comes under the purview of this and system approach, such as policy making on all of them. And another thinker of the political science who also defines about a meaning of system approach is Ackoff. His name is that Ackoff, who defines that Ackoff is a system is an entity that consists of an independent but interrelated parts. What is in definitions according to this? And Ackoff is that a system is an entity that consists of independent but interrelated parts. See, for example, the system approach, which it can makes us to understand the particular thing, which is related to the state, and how one element which is consist of an other, that in relation. Say, for example, if you take it as in policy making, let us, if I will tell you the policy making method. So can you tell me the one example that and how actually we make the laws in the state, such as if you take it as a parliamentary form of government, the first minister have to introduce a bill in the parliament. After the introductions of the bill, the speaker will let the discussions about a particular bill. After huge discussions in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, then it will send it for the, then it will be send it for the president assent. Do you understand that? So what I mean to tell it here is that an Ackoff, according to Ackoff or Bentley, the definition says that anything which it can discuss in an interactive method, anything which it can discuss in the specific manner, that it shall be called it as a system approach. So here in the system approach, you will understand something which is related to, interactive manner, as well as to that you will understand about a specific thing, such as I said it in law making process, isn't it? Ackoff, who defines the definitions of the system approach, even we understand the process of making of a policy as a part of a state and as a part of system approach. And the third thinker, Robert A. Dahl, defines, what is it, defines about in system approach is any collection of elements that interact in some way with one another. What is saying that Robert A. Dahl defines about a system approach, any collection of elements that interact in some way with one another, isn't it? Anything which it can be related to one and each other. Let's take it as that any concept. For example, say, you take it as, eradication of corruption in the society. Do you understand that? See, eradication of a corruption in the society, it's not a moral thing. Say, for example, if you'd like to bring an act for the eradication of corruption in the society, there is a certain, kind of interaction between the one another. Do you understand that? System approach, where you can see here in a one example, you can understand that in the system approach is that, let me tell you what actually Robert A. Dahl says that one and provision which it can be interacted with the one and each other, such as, the eradication of corruption. If you could take it up an example, where many people's involved into the state government, central government, president, all the legislative members of the house, they will involve into the process. So even it is in bureaucrat. For example, say, if I, being as a government of India, if I brought in law, which is an eradication of corruption, what is the procedure to implement it? Can anybody tell me that? What is the procedure to implementation of it? You have to tell me that. 1 second.
बुला तो नहीं आ रहा है
Yes. See, here is that if you take it up on eradication of corruption, can you tell me see what Robert A. Dallas's system approach is makes us to understand how one element which has an interaction with the other element. For example, law-making procedure as a part of a law-making procedure, if you could take it up, like eradication of law. After making of law, who has to involve into the process of implementation? Can anybody tell me? Who has to involve in the process of making of law? Now tell it. Do you understand? My voice is audible to everyone. Can anybody tell me that who has to involve into implementation process of eradication of corruption? Of course, the police and then IS officers and clerks and each and every one. So all these peoples can be called it as a bureaucrats. Do you understand that? Who has to be called it? They all which used to be called as a bureaucrats. So you see here, one in a system approach, we do understand particularly one particular element, how it is in relations to the one another, isn't it? So if you wanted to understand the particular one thing, where you can understand the one element interaction between the one and each other, isn't it? So understanding about one particular element and which is interacted with the one another element, which we understand as a part of this system approach according to Robert A. Dahl. Do you understand my point? And also at the same time, if you could take it up the system approach, which has implemented in the different concept. For example, while we are understanding the concept of the subsystem, while you are understanding about a concept of the system approach, where you need to understand the concept of the subsystem. After understanding what is a system and how it is operates in a society, now we must know about a concept of a subsystem. What does it mean, subsystem? In the family, caste, religion, language, and so on. See, in a system approach, which involves the sum of subsystem factors, isn't it? As a part of the system approach, which we understand about certain elements in the society, about in family, caste, religion, and language, and so on, isn't it? These are the subsystems of the society, political and economic systems are the subsystems of the larger social system. The subsystems are only the part of the total system. It means that these systems and act as a both system itself as in subsystems of the society. If you could take it as every subsystem is also having a various subsystem within its fold. For example, if you could take it as a system approach, I'll take it as an example that, if I ask you about certain religious, okay, certain caste, okay, and about then social economic system, so societal existence system, all these systems, if you could take it up, we do understand as a part of this system approach. For example, say, whenever one must need to understand about this in subsystem. What is called the subsystem? No, subsystem means caste, okay, and that you can take.
Sir, your voice is breaking.
Family, weight, okay. My voice is not clear. Is it my voice is clear to everyone? Is it my voice is clear to everyone?
Okay, sir. It's breaking.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
also, it's breaking.
Okay. See, subsystem means existence of caste, existence of the, that language, existence of family, existence of society, all of them, they are being a part of the subsystem in the society. Understanding about and language, understanding about family, understanding detail and everything that is a part of the subsystem. Also understand the concept of the subsystem. For example, see, being as a subsystem, system approach, we do research on the caste genesis. Say for example today, the new caste, say for example Masai and tribe in the African continent. If you wanted to know about a Masai genesis, Masai tribe, how they existence, what is their food material, what is their fodder crops, on what they have to do it, and how their existence style, what is their language, how they do write, and how they, and script, what is the script, and everything we do understand as a part of this, system approach. So system approach do understand particularly about every caste system. Like most of them, we have in certain, a kind of an, confusion that, see, if I ask you about in this and Muslims, how many classes are Muslims are there? Okay, if you could take it this concept into the understanding the system approach, it gives you a complete and understanding about it. Existence of the Muslim will be in the two classes, like Shias and Sunnis, isn't it? The Sunnis who are believes in a formless God, Shias who believes in a form God. Okay, they believes in a, there is a form they do, and a kind of certain puja, certain, there is a God and all of them. So as these kind of an information, we do we get in the sense means as a part of an, we do understand that, as a part of that, we do have an understanding about in detail about, like for example family system, how family system have existence in the society. Do you understand that? For example, say, if you go back to the 100 years ago, do we find a family system in this universe? Can you tell me that? If you go back to the 100 and 1,000 years ago, could you find out, is there any chance of to existence of the family system in the society? Do you find that? Go back to the 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, do you find that in the status of family and across the worldwide when primitive system was in existence? No. When primitive system was there, there was no family system which used to be entertained. The person used to move from one place to another place. He used to follow the Juming cultivation. So how from that point to present time, how the society which have an, and that, and how the society which has an existence, isn't it? And all these things we do understand as a part of this and system approach. So system approach makes you to understand particularly about in subsystems of the society. You take it as a family, how it has existence, how caste system has come into the effect. Okay, all these things we do understand as a part of the system approach that you need to understand here. Like, and also the same time, if you could take it up in subsystem, after the subsystem, we do understand this David Easton's ideas of the input and output model. You know that, see, he has invented authoritative allocations of value. David Easton is an important thinker of the political science who existence in the 20th century. He has developed the concept of the political system as a basic unit of analysis. His approach has been appreciated as realistic approach, and these approach has come into existence in the year of 1953 as the basic unit of analysis. And in this approach, he has confessed that an inquiry into the state of political science, followed by the framework of political analysis and system analysis of political life. Then see, this approach makes us to understand how the political life, and he has analyzed many things about political life. See, most of them, they are making the mistake.
Somebody mic is on, sir. Please make them unmute.
Okay. Listen to me now. Here, in a point of this David Easton's ideas. See, David Easton is a modern thinker in the political science whose ideas of relevance to the system approach is very much, who have analyzed and political life very scientifically. His approach has become very popular after 1953, and even after 1965. These approach has become so very popular in order to understanding about in state and state factors. So understanding the concept of, he has taken a certain elements in order to understanding about a particular thing, such as his model of input and output model. If you could see in the page number, if I am not wrong, that in the page number you can see for 53, I believe that there is a one diagram which you can see, isn't it? So in this diagram, how actually the system approach, authoritative allocation of system. In authoritative allocation of system, how actually the power goes and how power comes out. Who involves in the process of decision making. In his input and output model, you know that in the David Easton, that also called the parapolitical system, which it can be called it as a parapolitical system. In this one, you can see the paragraph. In the middle, he has given in the one square box the political system from the both the side outputs and inputs. One side, from my side, left side, there is inputs. From my right side, he kept it on outputs. Isn't it? See how actually there's a process of decision making which involves to that. See, and any decision making of a government which depends on demands of the people. For example, see, government, no time the government can respond voluntary policy development. Can you accept my statement? See, government at any time voluntarily, it cannot bring the new policies for the progress of a state. There should be a demand from the people, isn't it? See, like, when we do not demand them, for example, see, you take it as an example in your particular area. Like there was some problem which have been found in the drainage system, where there was no process of where there is no method of to and sending in contaminated from water from the particular societal area, isn't it? So you know that there is a certain drainage system has been totally collapsed, where people are struggling like anything in order to spreading of contagious disease. Until and unless you should inform to the collector of the concern or municipal corporator to the concern and jurisdiction, he will respond. He will not respond to the matter. Do you understand my point? See, if you are, I mean, until and unless you demand them, they won't make any policy, isn't it? If you do not demand them, they can't make any policy at all, isn't it? So, as a process of demand and making of a policy, David Easton in the 1965 after, he has developed that authoritative allocation of our values. So in keeping in view of that, as a part of the system approach, we also understand the ideas of the David Easton and how actually the state works out in the process of decision making. Any policy, if you'd like to bringing up, there should be a demand from the people. Until and unless there is no demand from the people, you can't expect anything which is in relations to the demand implementation or policy implementation. No time, and if you take it as in any government, see, if you reveal something about your problem, okay, if you reveal something about an issue, then the government will respond it and they will make a certain policies which the problem can't repeat in the future once again. So if you do not inform them, if you keep quiet that the same problem which exists in your, the area where you lives it, isn't it? Then problem will not be rectified at all, isn't it? So, and the system approach also makes it out and makes us to understand the certain thing, how problems can be resolved and how the government which involves, how authority which must be used in order to eradications of the problems. All this thing in a para and political system, that was a model of the David Easton, which makes us to understand in order to understanding particularly about and resolving the problems of a state, isn't it? Next one is that functional approach. After the system approach, there is another approach in the modern science, modern political theory, that it makes us to understand. Let me tell you, the structural functional approach is one of the modern approaches to understand the political science and the political analysis of the state. This approach is a product of empirical and scientific orientation in the study of the politics. See, structural functional approach explain basic functions performed by various political structures in the political system. I think you know that what is the meaning of polity? Polity is a something which deals about in state affairs, isn't it? Polity is a something which deals something is about in state affairs, isn't it? So structural functional approach makes us to understand in order to achieve the state things in the right way, in the very practical purpose, then the functions and the process of understanding everything, it's being a part of the structural functional approach. Such as this approach assumes that a developed political system is characterized by differentiations of the structure that perform specific functions. As a part of the functions, if you could see here, the two things which is involved, one is in structure and another one is in functions. What is a structure? You know, the structure is the arrangement of the system. A single structure may perform many functions. For example, the political party is a structure. Structure is a system. It performs various functions. It acts like a link between the voters and the government. It educates voters and it runs the government or checks the government. As a single structure, it performs many functions. The executions of law is a prominent functions of the government. For example, see, in an Allman define the political system as the system of interactions to be found in independent societies. Let me explain that what is a structure. In a general terminology, if you understand that and what is a structure, structure means one, a thing which organizedly set up. Okay, any of an organization or institution, if it's been organizedly set up, okay, that it shall be called it as a particular structure, isn't it? Say for example, go to your college, okay, and then see that there is a proper structure, okay, that is called staff. Okay, staff means, first I'll give the permission to interact in everybody. What is what is staff? Whenever you go to college, you may ask to that, and who are the staff of the college? Staff means what actually? What is a staff? See, understanding structure, I am trying to give the example to you, that you need to respond to my question. Until unless you respond, and I can't go ahead for the next and explanation. What is staff? If you go to the college, say for example, or else if you go to somewhere at shopping mall, or else you ask that, and where is the staff? What is the meaning of staff? Is it my voice is audible to everyone here? Do you understand that what I'm trying to speak here? Okay, fine then. No problem. Staff is a something that okay.
It is something that including all the members of the education society.
Very
Staff
good.
means
The group which certainly organized manner. Do you understand? Good summary of given definitions. You also said it. The group which particularly organized manner, isn't it? So any organized manner, you can call it as a structure. Okay. For example, before constructing a home, okay, we called for a structure of plan. Structure of plan is something that which you have designed very disciplined manner, isn't it? So structure is a thing, and as a part of this in functional structural functional approach, we do understand that in how the society has created. Okay, society is a some organizedly set up. Okay, can you call the society which is scattered? Can you call that an animal society?
No,
No.
sir.
No,
Can
sir.
we call human society?
No, sir.
no sir.
Why can't we call human society? Can we call a society of human? We call society of human. See, for example, let me tell you, what is society? How society exists in the state? One second. Okay. How society existence? Let me tell you. First, we were not in a disciplined manner. Our existence was primitive.
Yes.
Man used to live in a caves. Okay, who didn't have any information about in family, because he used to live somewhere in the caves and he used to eat something raw food, who do not know about the modernity and each and everything. Do you understand my point? From
Yes,
that
sir.
point, a person is elevated to formation of a family. And how family is a structure. Family, it becomes a structure because there is a particularly organized way. Mother, father, son, daughter. It's an organized form. Similarly, from that family, the group of families which have been created a community. Okay, a group of families put together is called it as a community. Do you understand my point? When group of communities put together, it is called it as a society. Okay, a group of societies shall treat it as a state. Do you understand my point there? So what I mean to tell it here is that you need to understand the something that any structure which organizedly set up, if anything which is being an organizedly set up or particularly set up, that it shall be called it as an organized structure. Okay, as you can say, civilized people and all of that. So in the structural functional approach, we do understand how the structure has created. For example, how state has established, how society has established, how family is established, what are the roles and responsibilities, what they have to do it, and everything we understand as a part of the structural functional approach. After structuring and after structures have been developed, okay, so they have their own function. Every structure performs a certain functions, isn't it? There, there are many factors that define the functions of a structure. Among them, the basic functions discharged in a system, that instrument used and discharge those functions are the conditions of under which the functions are discharges, and the three, any structure which and follows the three different factors, such as determine the capability of structure functions in a political system. May understand every structure has its own and objectives. For example, if I'm taking it as a structure of political party, what is an functions of the political party? Can anybody tell me? What is a function of political party? See, I have an established a political party. What is a function of political party? What is a function of political party? The function of the political party is that identify the cause, identify the problem in the society to work for the state development, isn't it? A party, a political party organized, it has its own structure. What is its function? A political party, you just believe that you establishing a political party to be treated as in one function, okay, and one structure. Every structure has its own function. What is the function of the political party then? See, working for the people cause, finding the problems and to provide their needs, to let them to provide the needs and accomplishments of the needs and all the thing which it can comes under the point of this, you know political parties. For example, see, what is a state? See, once organized is set up, let's take it as a caste. Okay, otherwise you could take it as in one of an institute. Let, for example, NGO, non-governmental organization, the set up of one organized sector. What is its in responsibility? It has its own responsibility to understand and then to work for the cause. So in a society, every factor and every structure has its own responsibility. So we do understand in the structural functional approach how the structure has developed, what are their functions, isn't it? See, for example, if the political party has established, what is the functions of it? Or any, that in CPA, if you take it as a communist party, a socialistic party, if any structure is being developed, like such as pressure groups, if any structures are being developed, and what are their functions, we do understand as a part of the structural functional approach. Okay. So next one, if you could see that, Gabriel Allman is an author of the structural functional approach. and stated that change can be seen only in terms of its own and responsibilities. It has its own and functions. What are the functions to them? If you could see that, every first functions, if you see, every political system has its own structures. Some of the structures are more specified structure and perform more function. Some of them are less specialized and perform, that in lower functions, isn't it? In spite of the differences between the system and the structure, all political systems perform the same political functions, such as understanding the problems of the society to accomplishments of such thing, providing the needs to the people and accomplishments of the problems. So even that in Gabriel Allman, I mean, the analysis about a structural functional approach, you understand and he explains that in their structures and what are the functions they do have, how the rule and adjudication, how the power and uses and everything it has happened, that you shall understand as a part of the structural functional approach. Next one, unit 7 is a Marxist and neo-Marxist approach. What is a Marxist approach? Marxism means you have to, who were the exponents of the Marxism means, the exponents of the Marxist are Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. You have to remember who have introduced the Marxism. Marxism, which have introduced by the two exponents, one is Karl Marx, okay, and another one Friedrich Engels. Do you understand that? Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx. I think everybody knows that Karl Marx ideas an author. Let me tell you, the idea and ideology associated with the Karl Marx, who born in the year of 1818, who died in the year of 1883. The famous German philosopher who born in 19th century is known as a Marxism and who known for famous as a Marxistic ideology. Hence, this approach is named after that and Marxism. And the name of Karl Marx, the approach is called it as an Marxism, who born in Germany and hence is being called it as a German philosopher. Friedrich Engels, Karl Marx was a chief exponent of this approach, as I've just said it that, and the thinkers had no clear concept of and about Karl Marx and what he works at for, what and that and how he has to work for the development of society. Let me tell you first in how this Marxism which works that. Marxism which works for eradication of slave. Okay, Marxism work for bringing equality in the society. Then why this Marxism is popular across the worldwide is that the reason is that, see, at 19th century, since before 19th century, we have seen certain variations in the society. What is that? Equality and inequality. Like, there was huge inequality which was existence in the society, haves and have-nots. In the 19th century, there was a domination of many people, like, domination of many people, such as if you could take it up, the capitalistic society which have dominated on the poor people. Okay. And, even in the past, the poor was the status was the same. Then even in the modern time also, the poor status is the same. Because, poor has to work under the rich people. For example, let me tell you how actually the variations have come in the society. The who are working class, comes under the working class, they are all called it as an have-nots. Okay, have-not means they do not have anything, like no money, no status, no identity in the society. Then hence is being called it as an have-nots. Another class in the society which existence with have, they have everything. They have money, they have economic status, they have, that in proper food to take up, they have everything. They are or they can utilize all the opportunities which exist in the society. Is it clear to everyone? And if you could take it up, this soon after what it happened, these two classes emerged as a tussle, have and have not, which have a differences between the one and each other. Like this have class is called as a capitalistic class. Have not class is called it as a working class, which is called peasants. Even in another name, Marxistic terminology, which have said it, that haves means proletarian, have not means proletarian community. Proletarian community means working class community. Okay, proletarian community means working class community. So which means Marxism have fought for bringing entire society as equal society, where he doesn't want to see any of them haves and have not. He wants to see entire society with the uniformity that everyone should have. Okay, so he wants to elevate the poor people at the level of rich. If any state and everybody, if all are becoming rich, they don't have any kind of a problem matter. Do you understand that? If you find and everyone is in have, there is no point of reason to, and that in showing the inequality between the one another. Do you understand my point? If there are two classes of the society, those are landless and landlords, then always there will be a ruptured tussle between the one and each other. So Karl Marx for the first of 19th century, he just wanted to remove such kind of a tussle between the haves and have not, in order to making entire societies and have society. So he has experimented in Germany by taking an assistance of Friedrich Engels, that he has implied that this kind of Marxist concept to everyone. So what does it mean, this Marxistic concept is that, Karl Marx always says that working class must be given priority. Okay, Karl Marx have represented behalf of working class. In his view, what he said that always the working class must be given a priority. Do you understand my point? Are you all understanding that? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Working class must be given an priority, where this working class should be given all the rights equal to rich class in the society. So Marxist believers have increased by one nation by nation. The Marxism got in very much popularity in the China, Russia, even some parts of India. We have seen that. So providing all the opportunities to the working class on par with the rich class, he has used the method Marxism. Then he said that working class who are there in the world, they must be united. Okay. So working class, they must be united and fight against the rich class in the society, isn't it? So landless people should fight against the landlords in order to gaining the land. Why this movement has come in the sense means, majoritarians are landless, minority peoples are landlords. So when majority is working class, you can't expect the nation is going to be developed in the future. Do you feel that? Say, for example, in your family, 100 members are there. In only the 10 members are having rich and the 90 members are working class. So how can you expect your family is rich when 90% and the majority of the peoples are not having that such status? They are having the proletarian status, whereas the 10 members of your family, which consist of the rich status. How do you say that your family is rich? You can't say that, isn't it? At least there should be a balance, 50-50. 50 poor and a 50 rich if it could become. Okay. Then there is a chance of to say that it can be because of 50 people are riches and helping out the remaining of, that 50 in the family. So what it has happened in the society, the majority of the class peoples are landless and working class and peasant, they do not have. So there is a very uneasy to achieving the equality. So what Karl Marx says that all should unite, put together. Then he has given a slogan: workers of the world united and should fight against the slavery. You nothing loss. Okay, you nothing loss. And like he says, then that kind of an slogans. And well, he was in this process, in order to bringing inequality to society, who spoke about haves and have not united and fight against the haves. When haves, automatically there is a chances to prevalence of equality in the society in his views of Karl Marx, such as, if you could take it up, who also invented the method theory of surplus, bringing the equal, which was written by the Karl Marx, isn't it? So in his book, you can see he mentions about how a society can reach at the level of, equal. Then he has invented a method of theory of surplus. The theory of surplus means what it is here. You need to understand the one thing. Theory of surplus means, say for example, a capitalistic have invested a money in the one manufacturing process. Okay. Then after that, he invested 1,000 rupees per, manufacturing of such products in the company. Do you understand that? After, manufacturing that, and generally we dispatch the product to the market. After selling such products, and he got it in 1 lakh rupees. Okay. How much? And the, that in cost of to manufacturing the 1 lakh rupees of product in the market means 1,000 rupees. An investor have invested in, 1,000 rupees. Then he got exceeded 99,000 rupees as a benefit. And he minus it, that he subtracted the value of labor who involved in the process of manufacturing. Okay. Then he gave in 9,000 rupees to the laborers, because they worked and they have invested their labor in the process of manufacturing. So minus it 10,000 rupees. Okay, what is a surplus out of 1 lakh rupees after giving investment fare, and as well as to the labor fare, labor wages? How much exceed? How much it is a surplus? How much it is a surplus, and after 1 lakh? You have to tell. Just I'm asking to interaction. What is the surplus value of that company? $90,000, isn't it? These 90,000 marks says that it should be distributed among the everyone who joins in the process of manufacturing, isn't it? So that what it happens, if investor took the entire 90 lakhs rupees, the investor become a rich. Okay. Then the people who worked in the manufacturing process, if they take it as a wages, they remain as a poor forever. So if the money surplus value, if it comes, and if it is distributed among the each and everybody, including investor, including wages, and if they 90,000 they distributed each other, definitely the next, and the society all becomes a haves, and there is no point of reason to checks and balances of have nots in the society. That was an idea of the Marxism. However, we will discuss in the next class, tomorrow's class, since the time is over. And if you have any questions regarding the structural functional approach, as well as the system approach, and as well as to the Marxism interaction, you can ask the questions. I'll give you 5 minutes of time. You can ask the questions if you have any kind of questions. Any questions from your end? No questions? Okay then. See you everyone. We join in the next session. If any questions, and you can ask me, otherwise in the And no, see, Alia, I don't have any of model questions because just I'm a faculty. So where you can find out in modern papers in your book, last page, there is in modern paper, you can find it. Still, if you wanted to get it in previous question paper, which they asked from the first year, you can go to the study center where you have registered. They'll give you the question papers of last year. Okay. Anything else?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. What is the difference between direct and representative democracy? Direct democracy means the leader is elected directly, such as Switzerland is an example. Representative and democracy is then there is a representative. Chances of the indirect elections which existence. Best example is at India. Okay. Anything else?
Sir?
Yes.
And doctor. Sir, what is
Please
Rosa?
ask me.
Rosa Luce Marburg.
What is the doubt? Okay, fine then. I'll see you everybody. Thank you so much to joining the sessions and bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Page number Diwali.
Then